Come join me and let's paint a holiday wreath with poinsettias. Are you struggling to create some holiday art that feels festive, but it's not overcomplicated? Look, I totally get it. I used to be the type of person that would overthink every little detail and suck all the fun out of it. So it felt more stressful than it felt joyful. So I wanted something that looked really beautiful, but that didn't take a lot of time, and I could actually watch the Hallmark Channel while I was doing it. Totally did a binge day on the Hallmark Channel. Christmas movies all day long. It's awesome. So that is how I ended up creating this really simple poinsettia holiday wreath that I'm going to show you today. Get a little festive, turn on the Hallmark Channel if you want. Bring your supplies into the living room with your coffee table, but just get that space. I had a fireplace lit, but you could light a candle. Just kind of get in the moment to get the little feels. Do you like my hands? I don't know what this is. But look at this little pretty thing. Where is he? Oh, he's upside down. If you can spot the little cardinal, I added him at the very end, and it was a challenge because I didn't think it through. Okay, so I will say when I started this, I didn't plan for it to be as large as it is. I had my coffee cup sitting here. It was actually the perfect size. My thought was to go with this kind of a medium. I was thinking actually about taking it and cutting it out and hanging it on my Christmas tree. You guys will have to let me know if you think I should still do that, because I still can do that. But I do have a 9 by 12 inch piece of paper, and I'm just putting a little bit of the green around my cup. I've seen people do this many times, and I was like, oh, that's brilliant. You know, I always get some circle and trace around it, but just putting the paint on the cup and tapping it on there was a heck of a lot quicker. So you gotta, and I have seen them kind of outline it a little bit, so it's a little less perfection, it's a little less messy. So when I first started, I'm using my, this is my Rosa kit that I have. So this is my olive green that I'm starting with, and I have a round brush. It's got a pretty good snap to it. I don't often use these brushes, and I did have my camera up above so you can see where I've got my tripod over it. So at first I was not turning the paper. It's much easier, you guys, to turn your paper than it is to try to turn your arm around while you're watching the Hallmark Channel, by the way. So I'm adding a little bit more green, already starting with some definition. I didn't plan this out, and this is really part of the fun. So when you go to do this, if you try this, just go for it. Have fun with it. Just start creating. Don't worry about, having enough white space. Are my shapes correct? Because if I'm going to layer this one, I'm just kind of popping them in. Practice your shapes of your leaves if you want. Practice your colors. I could add a little bit of blue to this. I could add a little bit of brown. Again, I'm just playing. This is what this one's all about. There's no pressure with these type of paintings. So I am trying to figure out now, okay, how do I make that little shape? So I'm staring at my poinsettia, which I have sitting on my coffee table. And this is not what I was going for. It looks, I don't know what it looks like. And again, I'm trying to work with a brush because I don't use my rounds very often, or the ones that snap. I always see people do all these beautiful flowers all the time and their leaves, and they got that nice little push and pull thing that they do. I'm not a push and puller. I'm just kind of a bull in a china closet, I guess is the best way to say it. So I'm trying to be a little bit more dainty as I'm like kind of figuring this whole thing out. Okay, I have my little center, so I'm going to make my little line, and then I push down, and then I pull up. So I liked that one much better than the first. And remember, it's okay. I'm going to layer. I don't care. We're going to make some bigger ones later on as well. So I'm just practicing here. I'm also chewing on a candy cane if you can't tell. Oh, I'm out of control. It is the holiday season, and I'm just letting loose. If you guys have followed me for a while, I let loose a lot anyway. You know what? I didn't let loose for the longest time on here, but I'm really kind of coming into my own, I guess. My button's broken. I don't care as much anymore. And I share stuff with you guys. Like if I'm, struggling, like I'm not the best flower maker. I finally taught a class on kind of what I went through and creating flowers because I had such a hard time, and I keep forcing myself to do it. And you can see, you learn and you grow all the time. And if you want to check out the flower course, by the way, I'm going to give you guys a discount because it's the holidays, and if you struggle like with flowers, like I did, I think you'd really enjoy the course because I kind of go through my whole process and what I went through. So if you see the other artists on here on YouTube that just make these incredible flowers, like nothing can go wrong, just know that I bet they've practiced those same shapes and that same, push and pull thing many, many, many times over. I have not. This is my practice right now. You're seeing it. And I'm going to try to go over this one here again. Let's just make it a little bit bigger. If we don't like it, we'll make it bigger. Remember, you can't make it smaller, but you can always make it bigger. That's why this grew. It gets fuller and fuller and fuller. It looks nice though. I think that's even when you're making wreaths in like real life, you're filling that wreath up. It doesn't quite look right. It's too thin or needs more ribbon or needs more flowers here. You're always tucking stuff in, right? That's what we're doing here. We're just going to tuck her in. Tuck her in, let her go to sleep. There we go. A few more petals. I didn't even count the petals. I have no idea how many petals are on a poinsettia. So it doesn't matter. There are as many petals as I want to put on there, right? So I did kind of cover up that one. And I'm going to looking at it, it's pretty balanced at this point. Like I think I have those spread out really a little bit too even. I actually very much struggle with composition with flowers as well. That is, I just, like, I don't really think about it. I don't have a plan when I go into it where things are going to go. And I think that's my downfall. Like I said at the beginning, I really just enjoy the process of it. So have I studied a poinsettia? No. Is it right in front of me? Yeah. But so is the Hallmark channel. Guess what I'm focused on? I mean, keep looking up at the TV right now as I'm doing this. It's pretty funny, actually. My husband came downstairs and was like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm painting and I'm watching the Hallmark channel. He goes, what movie are you on? I'm like, number 3. That's when I guess I got bored. I'm like, okay, I need to do something else along with watching the Hallmark channel. So I got a good deal on Peacock because we don't have cable here. And if you guys followed me for a while, you know that we don't like to have monthly payments or anything, but they had a really good deal for Peacock. It was like 75% off, so it was like $20 for the whole year. I'm like, I'll just get my $20 worth just watching the Hallmark channel during the Christmas season, I think. So and I get to watch The Voice now. So if you watch The Voice, let me know in the comments. I love watching The Voice. I like watching American Idol, and I watch movies. I don't really watch any other TV. We have Netflix. That's pretty much it. So I'm going to continue working around this. I changed the color up a little bit. I've got a little bit more pink. I really like the pink, so I can go a little bit darker with the bigger ones, which I'm going to do next. I'm just kind of filling this in a little bit more. Again, I'm practicing, so there's a lot of poinsettias on here, a lot of those flower shapes. I'm getting it. I think I have the shape down now until I did that because I'm not turning my paper as much as I should because I'm filming it. I give up and I do start moving. As you can see, I start moving the paper around because it was just almost impossible to do that push and pull. So if you find you have a hard time with the shape, turn the paper whatever way works for you. If you have like a certain position that you can keep doing the same thing over and over again, do that and then just move your paper around. Now, I recommend doing these intuitive type paintings where you're not thinking things through so much. You really kind of get into a rhythm and you're using the other side of your brain. So it's the side of your brain where you're not thinking all the time and it's just coming to you more natural and you're just practicing. So don't put any pressure on yourself. So I decided here, I'm like, I like the color. I think maybe I'll add a little gold. I wasn't even sure what I was making. Was I making a star? Was I making a flower? I ended up just basically making marks. I just wanted a little bit of gold in there. So they could be anything. It could be berries. It could be little flowers. It could be little bows. It could be anything. And then I decided to add some purple berries in here. I like the purple and the red together, kind of a blue purple. And of course I want to add some snow. I'm trying not to get those berries all clumped perfectly around. So you do want to stagger them. You don't want them to be perfect on there. And I'm adding some white. We're just going to Just mix up, I have a little bit of water on my brush, not much, but I just want to thin it out just a little bit. See how you could, you can hide all those imperfections if you've been playing around with it and you're kind of unsure about, where your flowers are, what they're going to look like. And when you start to add snow and stuff, you have a few of them that are very detailed. My favorite one is that one on the bottom right that's kind of tucked in the middle where the opening is. I really like that one, and it's more detailed, and you can see I left a lot of space, and so I've got some white space in there. So if I were to do it again, I might do a little bit more of that, but it's a mixture of everything. So now I'm adding a little bit of white for a little highlight in those berries. Now those could be blueberries, right? Instead of having them red, because usually I would do like a holly berry type thing, I just knew it wasn't gonna show up. And I do decide to add a red cardinal. Again, the red in the red, it was really hard, and I did struggle with it. You'll see where I kind of go back and forth a little bit trying to figure out how I can make it pop, because it's red on red and they're basically all the same color scheme. So I did start out with more of an orange tone for the little shape. I pretty much gave up on this. This is almost like this little cardinal is hiding in there, which, you know what, they do that. My mom has a hollyberry bush, and you can hardly ever spot them because they're hanging out in with the green and the red, and they camouflage in there. Now when they're against the white snow, they stick out like a sore thumb, right? You can really see them. I did try adding a little bit of the bleed proof white to see if I could lighten him to make him pop a little bit more, but again, he's still kind of hidden in there, but that's kind of like, I think it's the charm. It's like, can you find him? Like, there's something hidden in here. What do you see? It's almost like I should stick a little red and white sweater on him and call him Waldo. So I think that's kind of a fun little thing to do. So now I'm adding a little bit of my mixture of blue, and I did blue and I did brown to make my own black. And it's sort of popping out, but again, I just kind of work back and forth, and I'm trying to get it where it's really going to pop out. So I went back through and added a little bit more red. It was a little bit more visible, but then once it dried, it did darken a little bit more. I'm going to pop a little beak in there. I'm trying not to do a whole lot of details, but I added a little bit of white to the beak just so I could get it a little bit brighter, and then we'll add some orange over the top of it. It's really funny because when I was painting my cardinal painting, which I'm going to share with my patrons as well, the full demo, I do have that, and I'm going to work on that. But you are working with a lot of details. This one is a lot smaller, so you're not going to see a lot of those details. So you just need to have like the illusion of an eye in there, a little bit of brightness where the eye might be, but it's like one little dot and the whole thing looks funny. And that was really fun when I did the larger cardinal painting as well, because it just, one little stroke can change the way that looks so much. It's really funny. They all seem to have their own little personalities. Don't forget to subscribe if you want more watercolor tips or just want to hang out and paint along with me.